Hi, I'm Paul Dayboll. I'm from Niagara College, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to create a newsletter using Microsoft Word. This newsletter, if you take a look at the top of it, this is a one column area, and along with that, the bottom down here, the footer of the document, is also a one column area. In between is two columns and some pictures and graphics and things to go along with it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to build our way through making this document. All right, first we're going to start by opening up the Microsoft Word document that has all the text in it. I'm going to blow that up a bit here so we can see it. Now, the regular type of this page is going to be Palatino. So I'm going to do a Command A, select all of it, and make it Palatino. And I'm going to make it Palatino, and I'm going to make it 10 points in size. There we go. So at least we got a good start. Now I'm going to be using style sheets throughout this to make it easier and to make things quicker. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a style sheet for the regular body copy, and then we'll put it all into rows and stuff. So let me just indent this a little bit, about the third to fourth character, somewhere around there. That's about right. All right, and then I'm going to go over to my style sheet here, and I'm going to say new style, and I'm going to make that based on no style, since this is a top level style. I'll name it. I'm going to put Paul body copy. I always do this just to make sure that all of my styles sort together. So now I know that from here all the way down to here, and I've done this by clicking one location and then holding shift and clicking the next location, is all going to be, at least starting anyways, is all going to be body copy. Okay. So in between that, I'm going to have some other stuff like this introduction here. Introduction. I'm going to do all of those in Optima. And I'm going to make it, let's see, 16 points in size, and we will make it bold and make sure we have no indent like that. And I'm going to make that a style also. I'm going to say new style, and I'm going to base that on, again, no style. And this one is going to be called headline. Okay, so I have to apply it though, because you can see here that it's not really applied, right? Like the blue is not, the blue is actually around something else. So the blue has to be here. So you can see that light blue line around that I've applied that style. Now down here, this one's also going to be a headline. So I'll just make that a headline. This one is going to be a subheading, so I'm going to make it a headline and then make it smaller. I'll make that 12 points in size. And I can come back and do spacing and stuff after, but for right now, let's just get this applied. So I'm going to make that a new style. It is going to stay based on Paul headline. That way, if I change the font of Paul headline, it'll also change on my subheads. So I'm going to put Paul subhead 1. And I'm going to apply it to that. And now I'll just go down through the document, taking a look at other places I have here. I know I've got this one called tank stands, and that's going to be a subheading. And then throughout the document, I've got a few more. So fish feeding is going to be a main headline. This is going to be a subheading. And I've got one here called fish stimuli, I think. There it is right there. That's also a subhead. All right. I'm going to go back up here and make a couple changes. So I want a little bit of space before and after my subheads. So to do that, I will just go up under Format, the paragraph. I've got that selected. I'm going to put a bit of space before, maybe 6 points before, and maybe 2 points after. And we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So now that is a subhead 1. And you can see here it says subhead 1 with some changes. So to update that, I'll just select here and I'll say update to match the changes. And then throughout my entire document, it should be changed. Good. The next thing is to divide this thing into pieces so that we have some division to the page. Right here, this is all going to be a big heading at the top here, but I need to divide this by breaking it. So I'm going to insert a break. Now, these are different types of breaks. So a page break would mean that it went to the next page. Column break would be that whatever's after that goes to the next column. And then down here is a page break, a section break next page. So it means go to the next page. This one is continuous. This one we're going to use. The odd and even are pretty unique. You might use that for a chapter heading in a book where your chapters always start on the right hand page or something like that. So I'm going to do continuous. You see it says section break continuous up there. Now I'm going to break the page down here also. So right here I'm going to make a section break in front of this, and I'm going to insert a break continuous here also. So now the page is actually in 3 pieces. There's this part, there's this basic body of the page, and then there's the page in between. Okay. What I have to do is select part of this area, and I can go up here under Format and say Format Columns. Now I don't want it on the selected text because that would be only the text I've selected, but what I want is selected section. So the section that I'm in, that's the section that I want to become 2 columns. Now, the spacing between is often called the gutter, but they've called it spacing, and I want the columns to be even. But this is also called gutter in a newspaper environment. I'm going to put it at that, and I'm going to say OK, and you can now see that I've broken my page up a bit. Now, I want some space after here, so I'll just go under paragraph, and now I'll start cleaning this page up. I'll put some space after, 20. Now, one of the things you notice is that we got these big margins and stuff, and also this document is now 3 pages instead of 2, and I want to get pictures in yet, so I need to get this document in a better shape that way. So under Format Document, I'm just going to change the margins, and I'll change them to 0.5 inches all the way down. And when I do this, it comes up and it says, hey, some of these margins are outside of the printable area. That's because it's looking at a generic printer. It's looking at worst case scenario. You might have a printer that won't print to the 1/2 inch of a page. But most printers nowadays will print within a 1/4 inch of a page. So you can always just say ignore here. Now, problem is, I didn't do that to the entire document. Do you see how this has a different margin than this now? So I'm going to undo and go back and just show you that I needed to do that to the whole document. And it's really important when you're doing these settings that you watch this whole thing. See, whole document, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. And now when I say whole document, you'll see it does the entire document and not just that section. So be aware that once you've divided the page into sections, you've got to really be careful where you are. And also in that formatting thing, you could format the first page with a different margin than all the other pages in a document. Let's see if I can now make this look a little prettier up here. You don't have to use this font, but Curls is the one I used here. And I'm going to make it quite large, 80 points. And this one here, it's going to be Optima. And we'll make it a bit bigger also, 22 points. We can make it bold if we wanted, not sure. Well, we'll make it bold. And we're going to center that. Now, I want to get a picture in front of this. The reason I'm going to get how I'm going to get the picture in is I'm going to go under Insert, and I'm going to get a picture from a file. And I have this one called Fish Slides. That's the one we're going to put in. So I'm going to insert that there. Now, right now, this picture is actually text to the document. And you can see here, if I click in front of this and I start typing, it actually just moves it along as if it's part of the document. And it really is actually part of the type. So I'm going to double click on it to bring up the formatting bar. And right here is the key. You got to make this a text wrap so it becomes a different layer. And now when we size this down, you'll see that we could move this anywhere we wanted within this document. So now we can put that there. That looks pretty good. Next, I'm just going to finish this up a little bit by inserting a shape. So I'll just go Insert Shape Line. You notice I could have also done it under Insert here, Shape and Line. And it gives me this little icon. I'm going to hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, click drag, and let go of the mouse first. And that way I get a perfectly straight line. Now I'm going to go up and say Insert Shapes, Picture, right there, line. And I'm going to insert it here. And I'll show you the reason why. I'm going to go across here and let go of my mouse button first. Then I'm going to come back here and just pull this across like this. And that way I get them lined up nicely. They're lined up evenly that way. I have a lot of extra paragraph returns right now. And you'll notice that I have an extra one here and here and here. And what I want to do is go through my whole document and get rid of any extra paragraph returns. We never want extra paragraph returns. You know, we just don't want them. So what we're going to do is going to go up under Find, under Edit, Find and Replace. I'm going to open that up, and then I'm going to go Paragraph Mark and Paragraph Mark. That'll give me those two paragraphs. See, it shows up the two paragraph marks. And I just want to replace them with one. Make sure you replace it with one paragraph mark. If not, you'll get rid of all your paragraph marks and you won't have any. So you still need them. It's just you don't want doubles. So I'm going to replace all. And then it found 4 of them. And then it says, oh, I found a couple more. And I'm just going to replace those again. And now it's found no more. Okay. So in this section, I have to get rid of this one mark here. And I have a bunch of single spaces. See these here? Those are also something you don't want, right? So up here, what I can do is I can say, find for a paragraph mark and a space. And you'll see throughout the entire document, it's finding all these paragraph marks and spaces. And I'm saying just replace them with a paragraph mark. And then it did that. There's all sorts of ways to use that find and replace effectively. It really is really quite helpful. Now, I know this should go with the next page, but let's get some pictures in first. The other picture that we want to get in, there was a little graphic here that I'm going to insert a picture from a file. And that's these little sea stars. Again, I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to just go up here and make sure that I have a text wrap that is typed. I'm going to size it down, put it over here. Now, you see this isn't working very well, is it? Type is moving all over the place. This is not the text wrap that you want to use. We can just say in front. So we can say in front of the text. And we could move that here. And then I'll show you a cute little trick. You could put this line on top of that, or you could have the line run through it. Okay? So we'll double click on this, double click on it, and we'll say remove the background. Did that work well? Nope. So you can say mark areas to remove. And you can just discard all the changes. So what I'm showing you is that this doesn't work as well as you think. Everybody thinks that you can just click on this and it'll just do it. And it does not. It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And there's other ways to do this, and I would probably do it by going into InDesign or into Photoshop, and creating clipping paths and stuff like that. So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to say discard all the changes and have it there. How to do this, though, for me is I'm going to click on this line right here. I'm going to bring it to the front. Bring it to front. And that way it goes right over the stars, and that'll look a little better anyways. So that whole, remove background sounds really cool and everything, but it's not as good as you think. Okay, let's next get in another picture. So the next picture we're going to put in is going to be about here. I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to say insert a picture from a file. And what we want is the clownfish. So I'm going to double click on the clownfish. Again, here we want a text wrap type. Now here we didn't want the type to move when the picture was near it. So here we do want that to happen. So I'm just going to size that down. I'm going to bring that over and maybe put it about there. I'm going to put another one down here. Insert picture from file. That's going to be a fish tank. Again, every time I've got to do the tight. And I might want to place it here, or I might want to get it down a bit into the piece. You can kind of put it wherever you want. Now, if the picture's too tight to the type like that, what you can do is you can simply crop off a little bit. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to get my cropping bars, and I'm just going to crop this down a little bit. There we go. Now, let me talk about the cropping. So the cropping bars are on, and you saw me crop it down a little bit. But there's three different icons. There's this icon in the middle when the cropping bars are on, which moves the picture within the cropped area that you're allowing. You can also go and grab the corner, and you'll see that this would do a crop of the corner. See, that does the crop of the corner. But if I go out here and I size this, I'm actually sizing the photo within the crop. So I could actually do this type of thing where I move it around until I like the way it looks. And I could maybe crop it up a little bit. I could bring it out to the side a little bit, move it around a little bit, or I could actually crop it out to there. There. So you can see you have a lot of control over what you can do, all done with the cropping tool. You can just turn the crop tool off, and there's our picture redone. Now, sometimes we need to have a line around pictures. Example, this picture is pretty light down here, and it starts running into the page. So how you do that is you click on it, you double click on it, and then you can go over here where picture format, and you'll see line. And I'm going to say solid line. I want a solid line around it. And I can pick how transparent the line is. I can pick the line color. Let's say I wanted a, some sort of a colored line or something like that. I'm just going to go with black here. But that gives you a solid line around it. And then when you click out, you can see that you can now see the tank better. So what I do recommend, though, is if you're going to do it on one, maybe we should do it on all of them. And that way we have a common theme throughout our document. So that it stayed the black, and that way we have a common theme throughout the document. We have one more photo to get in, and I'm going to put it in the middle of the column, and you'll see how that works. So I'm just going to insert. It doesn't really quite matter where I put the photo when I first start, as long as it is close to where the photo is going to end up. So this one's going to be the starfish. I'm going to put the starfish in. Now, I'm going to do this a different way. You could go up here to text wrap, but if you right click, you can also do a lot of those same things. And here's the text wrap type. So I can just put that in the middle of a column if I want, like that. I'm going to go and put a line around it because we've decided that that's how we're going to do that. And then at the bottom, I'm going to have to go down and find my aquarium. Here it is right here. It's kind of hidden, right? So let me put some space before it. This is my line. Remember, this is in a single column, right? So I'm going to put some space before that. I'm going to put in, let's say, 20 points of space before that. I'll center it, and since it's in a single column, it should center right in the middle there. This is all going to be, we'll just leave it this way. We'll bring this up in size a little bit, italicize it a bit. I'm taking this up in size by holding down my Shift and Command key and then using the greater than or less than arrows, which are really the period and the comma on your keyboard. That's a kind of a fast way of doing that. I'm going to make this bold. I'm going to size that up. And I'm just going to draw a line there. So I'm going to insert some line here. Insert a line. Hold down my Shift key, click, drag across. Let go of my Shift key. Now I can go over here and I can control that line. I could make that line thicker. I could do all sorts of things on it. I could do like lots of shadows. You could do a shadow on the line if you'd like. You can do all sorts of tricks and techniques. Here's some preset shadows here. I'll put a shadowy line. Kind of look nice. Okay, those are all sorts of preset techniques you can do over here. All right, I think we have what kind of looks like a newsletter, and I think we've did it pretty efficiently using style sheets. So if you want to practice this, grab a bunch of text and get some photos and start putting together a newsletter for yourself using Microsoft Word and the column technique. Thank you. I'm Paul Dayboll from Niagara College, Welland, Ontario, Canada.